Wrestling fans.
Hey, this is Kiro Fernando, and you're watching
Pro Wrestling
Hi, this is Brad from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and welcome to another episode of Show and Tell. When you see this, it'll just be a few hours away from WrestleMania, but night two.
Yes.
Today's guest is the host of the What Do You Say with DDJ podcast. He's also one of the hosts of the Junkyard right here on Facebook. So let me introduce you, Mr. Dennis Day Jr. Dennis, how are you?
I am doing quite well, Brad. Once again, it's an honor to be on such an awesome show that we do for this group.
Well, I love having you on. It's very easy, with you. You know what to do, everything. It's great. It always goes smoothly. All right, I'm not going to ruin your predictions, which I'm sure, on the Junkyard, that's where everything will be revealed.
Yes.
But let me back up. What do you typically do for WrestleMania on a non-pandemic year? Would you watch alone, get together with people?
Usually, I have a couple of friends that, over the last couple of years, we've gotten together to watch it and things of that nature. And that, and then obviously last year, both nights I watched, solo, and I'll have watched probably night one that obviously will have been last night, when this airs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have that. And then I'll actually, while this is going to be on, most likely I'll be working. So I'm hoping to be done in time to where I can watch night two. But if not, I've got my phone. I've got the Peacock app. I can just throw it on my phone, so I have some noise in my work van and stuff. So one way or another, I will consume WrestleMania. And like I said, I'm hoping night one I can corral my son to watch it with me. So
nice. I'm supposed to go to Chicago on Saturday for my grandpa's birthday. So we're going to be driving back at like 8. And I'm just wondering if I can just put WrestleMania on my phone, and
right.
My kids I can watch without my wife thinking I'm being distracted. So for both nights, do you want to make one prediction? What the result after both nights of WrestleMania? What's one thing you think we'll see?
So much like you alluded to earlier, if you want to get all the predictions that I and the rest of my co-hosts of the Junkyard made, be sure to watch the replay of our prediction show, which will have aired live right after SmackDown would have concluded. I'll tell you what, pick a random match from the show and I'll give you my prediction for it.
Okay, let's go Ms. Morrison, Bad Bunny, and
Damien Priest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, usually when we have these types of matches, it's clearly to get the celebrity over, and and I don't think this will be anything different, especially since you're really trying to highlight him, and you're also really trying to get Damien Priest over on the main roster. So I'm going with Bad Bunny and Damien Priest to get the win on this one.
All right, that's a good prediction. Do you prefer the 2-night format? Or are you traditional, the one night?
Well, I when we have as many matches as we have, 2 nights works out perfectly. Mm-hmm. And I go back to WrestleMania 35, which was the last WrestleMania before the pandemic, 2 years ago, when it seemed like that show went on and on and on and on. I mean, for gosh sakes, I think the main event, which was the triple threat winner take all women's title match with Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda, they didn't go out to the ring. It was like midnight local time, so 11 hour Central time where you and I are located. And I've been at my friend's house watching this, and I think I was going on probably about 6-7 hours. And
jeez.
I love pro wrestling, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But there's only so much I can take in one sitting. So when we have like something like that, 2 nights works out. But if it's a show where there's like maybe 7-8 matches, things like that, 1 night's good enough for me. So
now, compared to other WrestleManias, are you underwhelmed with this year's card, or overwhelmed, or do you think it's just right?
I'm going to say just right, because I would say I'm more on the over, well, not necessarily overwhelmed, but excited because it is a decent lineup. I feel like this year's WrestleMania lineup on paper looks to be better than what we got last year, from the Performance Center. And obviously, I'm really excited because, this is going to be the first show that WWE has done with an actual crowd, not counting the NXT shows that were from the CWC. This is like the first WWE show with a crowd in almost like 13 months or so.
Yeah.
I think that's something I'm really excited about, because if it's one thing I've learned more than anything during all this is that it's just not, even with the Thunderdome, it just isn't the same without being in front of a live crowd. But no, I think the card's actually, a decent, it looks really good on paper. I think both nights are, have a good balance, for something for everyone. So no, I'm excited.
Okay, yeah, and it's WrestleMania. It's like, even though your team's not in the Super Bowl, you still get excited to watch the Super Bowl,
Yeah, but I got to admit, it would be better if my Bears were actually going to be in the Super Bowl on a consistent basis.
Yeah, way to ruin the vibe. All right, we'll move on. Dennis, you're here today for Show and Tell. What do you have for us?
Well, as you can see behind me, and if you've watched the, watch any of my, my podcast, my show, What Do You Say with DDJ, or, the Junkyard with myself, Spencer, and Jovan, or even my guest appearances on Such Good Shoot, this is usually where I broadcast and do my show from and stuff. And behind me is my micro brawler collection. So that's what I'm going to be spotlighting today.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah. So go fire away.
Okay. Here we go. So do you remember when you first got your first micro brawler?
Yes. And let me see if I can locate it on, and I can go grab it from the case here. Like I said, I've got pretty much, I think, minus a couple of variants. I've got them all. But yes, it was the November 2017 Pro Wrestling crate. And it was, I believe it was face paint was the theme, and I just located. So let me just run in here real quick.
Oh,
Okay. So this was the Pentagon. This was my very first micro brawler right here, and this is what started it all.
Wow. So so you started getting them through crates.
Yes.
When was the first time you purchased them, got it separate from a crate? Do you remember that?
It was probably a few months later. I don't remember exactly when. But
at that point, did you realize you were going to be collecting these?
I was kind of getting into them because when I opened the Penta one up, I was like, okay, these are neat, and stuff. But it just kind of started getting to a point. It's like, well, I really like these and stuff, and they're really fun to display down in my now my studio, but I had them just in my basement and stuff. And but it was a few months later, and like I said, it just seemed, I was like, these are actually really cool. So when I would go to the Pro Wrestling Tees retail store, they would always have like whatever they had left over, overstock from the crates and stuff for sale. So I was able, to eventually go back and get the ones that came before, I got into the crates and stuff. So like, the Cody with the tuxedo, the first Colt Cabana, the Young Bucks, I believe the cleaner Kenny Omega one and stuff. So I was able to go back and get those. And I think it was right around the time they started doing like the waves that were like, that were like the exclusives, like you didn't get them in the crate. That's kind of when I was like, okay, this is kind of turning into like, a collection versus just random things. So
now, have you been to the Pro Wrestling Tees store lately?
Yeah, I went, I want to say a couple weeks ago.
Were they out of micro brawlers?
The only ones that they had on the rack, which again, the store is it's still pretty bare because, they're focusing more on like the online orders and just obviously with everything going on with COVID and stuff like they're like stocking the retail store really hasn't been like a priority and stuff because they've been more busy in the back where they print the shirts and everything. But when I went there, because I usually go there to pick up the orders, and in fact, I just got a confirmation that and I'm actually going to probably go get it maybe tomorrow. I just got confirmation that my latest T-shirt order, which actually is a shirt for the junkyard, is ready to pick up. So I'm gonna go.
Oh,
probably pick it
awesome!
up, and stuff. But when I was there, the only ones that they had, I think the only one that they actually had that I remember seeing was the Owen Hart one from the February crate. I'm trying to think, did they have any of the January one as well?
Who's January? Jake the Snake?
Yes, that's who it was. It was Owen and Jake were the only ones they had actually in the store.
Okay.
I believe this was before or right around the time, I want to say, I think that the March crates that had the Kevin Nash Super Shredder Brawler were either they were getting ready to ship out or they had just started shipping. So
okay.
So
you're never going to Pro Wrestling Tees store anymore and like picking up a micro brawler because you have, even when they restock, because you have.
Yeah, the only way I would go get one is if I was getting one for a friend or something, or someone like, in the group who maybe missed out on one of them, is like, hey, I know you live close to the store. If they have one, can you grab one for me? Something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't really go out of my, I wouldn't really be going to get any unless someone's like, hey, I want to meet, I know you're looking for like the Chase Owen or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got an extra one. I'll sell you at a, what I would consider to be a reasonable price. So,
So, is it important to you to get the variants as well?
I would love to have them because, something like this, like when I get into collecting something, I try to be as complete as I possibly can with this stuff. Obviously, it's a little bit different than, say, like, when I was last on and I showed off my movie collection, because obviously I'm not going to own every single movie ever created, because that wouldn't be realistic. And secondly, a lot of stuff would just sit there because there's obviously a lot of movies out there that I don't see myself ever watching. But like I would love to have the variants, the Chase variants and stuff, but I'm not going to go pay, $150 for something, something in a package that I'm just going to open up and display. It's just, to me, it's just financially, it's at least,
it makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And I can't afford to spend that kind of money on something I'm going to open up. Now, if I was making 6-7 figure a year salary, that would be different. But I mean,
for sure,
but something like this now, I mean, would I like to? Yes. But is it the end of the world? No. Just as long as I at least get, one, the original one in my crates every month, and then whenever the limited ones come out and stuff, if I'm lucky enough to, which I have not missed any of the limited release ones yet, as long as it's going, I'm good with that. But for the Chase variants, I would love to, but it's not the end of the world.
So people like jack up the prices on these variants. Is there? Could you ever find one? It's like, here's it's $12.99.
No, because and that's one of the things that I really dislike about the collecting market is because there are people out there that get these these Chase variants in their crates, and they're excited not because they got it, they're just excited because it's like, I can turn around and make $150 off this, which I can't fault them for doing it, because it's their thing. They have the right to do it, with their items.
Sure.
I don't like it because, it takes away from people like myself, like, anyone else in the Pro Wrestling Junkies group that collects Brawlers, anybody that's part of the Micro Brawlers fan group that actually collect these for quote unquote the love of the game. And stuff like that. So it's just, that's kind of one of the things I really dislike about the collecting market and stuff. I mean, I'll pay a little above retail for like a Chase, but like I said, something that you go to the store and you would pay like maybe $15-20 for. I'm not going to sit there and pay $150.
Yeah.
So
like I see behind you this display. It looks like it's in like a tank. But a glass tank. Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah. The funny thing is when my wife bought this house and moved in about almost 9 years ago, we had been together for almost a year. I hadn't proposed to her yet. I think it was about maybe 2-3 weeks before I proposed to her was when she moved into this house and stuff. And I didn't move in until that following March. Because that house I was in was my parents were renting out to me, and I wanted to make sure that they could find someone. I just didn't want to leave them.
Sure.
But when my wife sent me pictures of this house she was looking at, she had the downstairs area, which I was really excited about, because I could see that being my area, and like they had a bar and stuff. And yeah, this was just a fish tank that the previous owner, had in here, and it just actually, just kind of worked out. I thought about when I moved in, I was like, maybe I can do something with this in a fish, with the fish tank and stuff. But then I realized how much work and stuff, like taking care of fish, really.
Yeah, totally.
And it's just, so I just was like, when I kind of had an idea of what I was going to do with this area, it's like, I'll just turn it into a display case, and then various items, here and there and stuff. But like over the last year or so, it just kind of became my default place to put my Brawlers.
Now, how often, the two-part question here.
Sure.
How often, do you rearrange things, and how often do you accidentally knock a bunch over and then have to from above reset them up?
I try not to do it often because I have so many, and a lot of times these things are like dominoes. If I'm putting a new one in, or if I'm moving one around, when I get a new one, like when the crate ones come in, or I get a limited run, or whenever all the Savage variants that were released, or the AEW ones that are eventually come in, I try to move them around to kind of keep them grouped together by faction or organization and stuff. But I try not to do it that often because, like you said, like I said earlier, they're like dominoes. If actually one tips over, it's like a whole bunch of them, and then you're sitting there doing taking 15 to 20 minutes to do something that should only take you about 2 minutes to do and stuff. So eventually, if I ever move my studio area to a different part of the basement, I will most likely be moving the Brawlers, because they've kind of become like a central fixture in my display and what I like to present on the video versions of my shows and stuff. So
it's amazing. Now, from one of your shows, Let Me Out Micro Brawler Edition. I know that you're a Let Them Breathe person. Did you the first one that you showed us? Did you open that right away?
I don't think I did. Because I really didn't know really what to do with them.
Yeah.
I don't think it was until I think I started getting into more of the collecting phase, or kind of it had a few of the crates, and then some of the ones in store and stuff. That's kind of when I got to the point with opening, because I get why people like these, why a lot of people like to keep them on card, for display purposes. Some people like to turn them around and sell them and stuff. I just think they're too much fun not to just sit in the packaging and stuff.
Yeah, because in cases where you're able to, display them like you have in back, like it's like a piece of art. It just wouldn't look that way with the cellophane, packages.
Right.
So now they're selling these the micro brawlers, or including the crates, like a hard case with a card on the back. Is there any way to cut that card out where it maintains some type of form? Like a mint condition, like baseball card.
Yeah, well, a lot of the times with these, the way that, and I know this has been something that's been something that a lot of the members of the Micro Brawler Facebook Micro Brawler fan group that I'm a part of, that are actually run by my good friends Nick Ryan and Dave, who do a really fun show called the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast that you can find on YouTube. They, the group that they run and stuff, it's one of those, things that a lot of people are often, kind of on Facebook talking about, is because, the packaging, a lot of times they'll get the one shipped to them and the cards will already be bent up and everything and that and such. So I know, and that's something that, a lot of min-on card collectors are really, finicky about, which I get. Sure. I collect the AEW figures; those stay in the packaging, and when I have something that I'm displaying in the packaging, I like to have my packaging as nice and as pristine as possible.
Sure,
I get it. In terms of the being able to manipulate to cut out the cards and stuff, I really haven't figured out anything because most of the cards I get are usually kind of dinged up a little bit and stuff. And I haven't figured what to do with them, but I'm sure there's like how-tos out there, people out there. I mean, if you use like maybe like an X-Acto knife to kind of dig into the bubble, which I know they're getting ready to switch the packaging to a different type of bubble or something, because I know one of the other criticisms of the packaging is the glue that isn't always the best and stuff. So there's so many different factors in these and stuff, and it's just like one piece of advice I would give to anyone who opens them up but kind of want to keep the cards as clean as is. Don't rush in, like a kid opening up a present on Christmas, just
and rip it up.
Just take your time, and just be gentle.
Sure. So you're not ripping up like pieces of paper.
You're right, yeah.
Okay, so you have a son.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have his own micro brawlers that are separate, that you've bought for him, that are separate from your collection? Like, does he have any to play with as action figures?
No, because he's
too young.
No, not so much that. It's more or less he's still like, I don't know if he's still really a wrestling fan or not. Like, he'll sit and watch it with me for a little bit and stuff, and I don't want to sink a lot of money. I mean, even if he's into them, he looked at mine and stuff, and I used to have them out in an area that was a little bit more easily accessible by people, and he would go over and I would kind of have to get on them because I told him, no, these are daddies and stuff. I mean, he's usually really good about them, but he'll come over and look at them and stuff. But now he doesn't have his own collection just because, like I said, he's really, he's right now more into like Hot Wheels and
it's more exciting.
Yeah, that's more his thing right now. So,
now your wife, does she appreciate the magnificence of that collection?
Of course not.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. I think it could be.
She'll kind of take a look at it, or if they're like, "Oh, look at this new one I got," she'll kind of just give me that. Oh, I can't believe you spent money on that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can kind of relate because I know you're married, to a I'm sure a lovely woman.
Yeah.
I'm sure she probably has that same reaction, so you can feel.
Doesn't relate, yeah. Like it's a race to the mailbox for me on certain days.
It's not so much that; it's just kind of like it's just that like I said, you spend money on those, but you don't have those things in life, so
totally. Okay, so is there one particular micro brawler that is, if you had to rank them, would be the bottom?
The bottom. I thought you were going to go with the top, and I was all ready to pounce.
Oh, we'll go up there.
I'm looking. I guess I never really look at one that I would say
or maybe the one that's the most plain.
The one that's most plain. I'm trying to think of. I don't know if I'd really say I'd have one that's plain because they do a really good job. David Stankin of Pro Wrestling Tees does a really good job, I think, capturing the essence of each superstar and the brawler. I'm just trying to like look at one that I would say if there was one that I guess I would consider plain, and the only reason why I'm saying this is because he never really had much to him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Be the King Kong Bundy one because all it is just a big bald guy with a black singlet. That's it. But I mean, other than that, I mean, everything else it's like you look at these guys and you know who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I being a wrestling historian like I am, I obviously know who King Kong Bundy is.
Yeah.
And stuff. But I would say if I had to pick one that was probably like plain, I would probably say it would be him. Or the other one that I'm looking at, and he's kind of way in the back, is one of the three that came in the group. The name escapes me right now. Matt Taven's group in our Ring of Honor. It was him. Vinny Ryan one's pretty plain as well. The Kingdom, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say those would probably be like if I had to do like the most plain one. Those would be the two that I would consider to be that case. So.
Okay, now a two-part question.
Shoot.
Your favorite one, and this could be different. The one that you think is like the most like artistic. So that might be the same as your favorite.
It is, but I'll give you my two favorite because they're both, I guess I would say, my favorite, and I think they're also probably the most artistic ones out of the collection. So let me grab those real quick.
Oh, great.
So my two favorite ones are, and I also believe these are probably two of the most artistic ones. I'm going to start with my second favorite, and that would be the Okada one.
Oh, wow. I've never seen that one.
Yeah, just because the detail that they put in his jacket, and then also, on the back, like it's just so detailed. Then they have the gold one that came out, and stuff, which is really neat. But I just like this one because this one just has so much more detail.
Oh my gosh!
And then my personal favorite, and the one that I think is like in terms of artistic and stuff is also mine is the Macho King one.
Oh, that one's great. I wish I got that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a huge Savage fan. He's one of my all-time favorites. He's in my top 5, and I just really, when this came out, I just was really appreciative of, like I said, I love the Macho King gimmick. That's the robe. They captured the crown. They just captured everything that was, made the Macho King. And stuff. And then obviously when they announced all the different variants of the Savage Brawler.
I was going to ask you, did you get one of each? Yes,
I managed to get one of managed to get all 6, just one of each. So.
And do you know when those are shipping? Were those were to come out later?
Yeah, I've only heard spring, so I'm hoping sometime either by the end of this month or by next month. But I haven't heard a firm date yet. But the sooner the better, because like I said, the king is waiting for the rest of his subjects.
Yeah, totally. They could have their own display case.
Right
now. Are there people, there must be, who have all of what you have and the variants?
Yeah, I'm sure there are people out there that have everything. Like I said, I would probably say I'm in the 95% complete with my collection, because like I said, the only ones that I am missing are the Matt Cardona and Brian Myers variants that they were selling, off, their website or whatever. I'm missing those two. I am missing what there was and I don't know if it's considered an official variant, but in the collecting community, it's listed. There's the original Colt Cabana Brawler that came out. There's the one that I got where he has a red elbow pad, but there was one, like I think the earlier run or some of them had like a white elbow pad or whatever. So I'm missing that one, the two variants, the Cardona and Myers, and then I'm missing the Chase crate one. So I'm missing the Chase Owen, and then the Chase Super Nash. So I'm like about 6 shy of a complete collection.
Okay, but so going back, I forgot to ask this. When you first started, were there a lot of micro brawlers out already when you first started collecting them?
No, because like I said, my first one was the Penta that I showed earlier.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I think there was maybe about like 6 or 7 that had been released. So I was, I got in very early on the, when they first started hitting the crates and stuff. So I got in well before like the surge in popularity and stuff got there. So.
And do you one day like plan on passing this to your son if he likes wrestling?
If he does, absolutely. Yeah, basically everything everything I have, my brawlers, my figures, just everything that I have, if I know that he's in a position where I know he'll take care of them and stuff, I would like to, yes.
Sure. Okay. So right now, the only way you're getting new ones are when the crates come out, and then with these special issue ones,
right,
off of Pro Wrestling Tees.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's about that time to end the program. Unless there's anything particular you want to show me.
No, I mean, like I said, I would love to show you all the ones I have in greater detail, but we would have to probably turn this into like a 5 or 6 part
yeah, totally.
And that's so. But I mean, no, it's just I really like these things. I think they're just so much fun. They're great conversation piece.
Yeah.
and stuff. Obviously I haven't had a lot of people over to the house since, the pandemic started.
Yeah, sure.
But most of my friends that I would have over have already seen these and stuff. And it's just nice, and I mean, it's, the micro brawler community is a really good, great community, one that I'm proud to be a part of. And
yeah,
like I said, guys, if whoever's watching this, if you collect micro brawlers, and you're not a member, join the Micro Brawlers fan group. Like I said, the guys that run it are awesome. They do a really cool YouTube show every week as well. And I mean, if you're looking for one, a particular one, or if you're looking to sell some, this is the place to be, because there's always someone looking to buy and there's always someone looking to sell.
All right. Well, all I want to say is that go buy Dennis's DDJ shirt. It's awesome. And there's also a Junkyard one that I'm not displaying right now because I don't have it here, the graphic. But check those out at Pro Wrestling Tees / Pro Wrestling Junkies, along with some other designs. Dennis, I could do this, but how about you give your plugs?
Oh, first off, thank you so much for having me on and allowing me to show off my little collection. As you guys just saw, I would really appreciate it if you would go down to www.prowrestlingtees.com / Pro Wrestling Junkies and buy my What Do You Say with DDJ shirt. I've only sold 4 shirts so far, and you're looking at two of those 4 that have bought the shirt. So thank you.
We can only go up.
It can only go up and stuff, but I just, it would be really cool. Like, it's really cool to have something, on a wrestling t-shirt website, being a diehard wrestling fan. Also, we've got the Junkyard shirt, which is a really cool design. If you guys haven't seen it, you can go to our Pro Wrestling Junkie store and ProWrestlingTees.com to check out the design. My man Giovanni had a friend do an amazing job of putting this design together and stuff. Let's say while you're at it, you plug my shirt, so I'm going to plug your shirt. Get a Toilet Side Wrestling Talk shirt. Get a Steve's 3 shirt. Get a Pro Wrestling Junk. I mean, there's so many cool shirts that we have on there. And also ProWrestlingTees.com. There you go. There's a Steve's 3. Mm-hmm. There's so many cool shirts on the site. And one of the best parts about buying these shirts off ProWrestlingTees.com, especially in this pandemic area, is that the proceeds from the sales of these shirts go directly to the wrestlers. And for those that really can't work right now, this is a great way to help them, continue to support themselves, and their families.
Sure.
But also be sure to check out my show, What Do You Say with DDJ, that drops every Monday at midnight as part of the Pro Wrestling Junkies Pod Squad. My guest this week was former Impact Wrestling and current NWA superstar All Day Marche Rocket. It was a tremendous interview, and I hope everybody who's already listened to the show enjoyed the interview as much as I did conducting it. And if you haven't, go check it out. Also, check out the Junkyard. Drops every Tuesday. We're a couple weeks into our new format, which seems to be going very well. Seems to be getting pretty over with the crowd and stuff. We just this week we just debuted a new segment called Your Peacock is Showing, and basically what that is there is just with the WWE Network shutting down in the United States, and if you want to watch any WWE content, you have to sign up for Peacock. So we kind of doing a public service to kind of show our listeners out there, some really good movies, some really good TV shows, just things to make that are other than WWE that are on Peacock.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
because there's a ton of stuff.
There really is, and I've been binging a couple of shows, and there's some like really good movies and stuff like that on there. But yeah, just check it out.
Dennis,
yes.
When you did show and tell the first time when we saw your movie collection, and I remember saying, I asked you, do you have a movie called Kentucky Fried Movie? And you had it, and I was, shocked. Yeah. It's on Peacock. I just noticed it during the week. I was like, oh, awesome. I get to watch this.
Yes. But
have you had any issues with Peacock, such as, on the best of, videos, not being able to fast forward to specific matches?
I haven't really gotten to that point yet because
it's frustrating.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's in my mind, it's no different than when the WWE Network first launched back in February of 2014, because there were a lot of like buffering issues with like the on-demand content and stuff.
Yeah,
and that. So and it's just it's what we call growing pains. I mean, I expect the WWE portion of Peacock to eventually evolve and kind of maybe be a little bit more in line with what those that had the WWE network are used to and that. So I fully expect that eventually we'll get to that point with the Peacock streaming service, because as you know, as I know, as anybody who's watching this knows, wrestling fans in general tend to be a very vocal audience if they don't have what they want, if they don't get what they want, and they come out in droves. And I fully expect that to be the case, and that. So I think over time we'll eventually get to we'll see some new features and additions made that'll kind of make everyone happy. So.
Yeah, it'll be nice if they even have things that WWE network didn't have, features. Right. Dennis, it was awesome as always having you on. You tell a great tale, and you're always welcome to come on any of my shows, even the wrestling one.
Definitely.
So enjoy WrestleMania tonight when this airs, and we'll talk soon.
Alrighty, my friend. Thank you so much.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye.